Good morning, everybody. Uneducated economist here. What's the difference between truth and facts? This is something that I've talked about in the past. And I was at a philosophy talk one time, just a small, discussion group. And we talked about truths and facts. Oops, we got the dice. And what the difference might be in it. You know, 2 plus 2 is 4. It's a fact, right? Or is it a truth? Well, is it both? Well, it's a truth because 2 plus 2 is going to be 4. But is it necessarily a fact? I mean, 2 oranges and 2 oranges makes 4 oranges if you have them. That's a fact, they're right here, 4 oranges. But when somebody says, well, 2 oranges and 2 oranges is 4 oranges, is that a fact or is it a truth? See, just because somebody states some truths doesn't necessarily make it a fact. Fact is something that actually happens. It's a factual thing. So when somebody's watching and viewing something and an event occurs, and you ask them, what's the facts? Well, their truths will come out, and it may be different between the two. What they saw and their truths are very different. What they believe are facts are different from each other. These things can occur in studying economics, studying science, studying relationships. There's a difference between truths and facts. I was reading this article earlier today and talking about the Russian debt. And it's funny because now Russia is very close to default, and this is going to be very significant and in my opinion, probably going to have a very big world impact. Global economic impact. It's already starting to. I mean, not even starting. It's happening. And I think about the truths and facts about this. Now, these bonds, these Russian bonds, they're due in US dollars. And Russia says, well, go ahead and pay them, right? You have the US dollars in the account, you seized them, unseize them, and pay the and pay the bonds. There's the money. And the United States says, no, those are sanctioned, those are frozen assets. You have to use the dollars that you have within your own nation. And Russia says, no, we'll pay in rubles. And the United States says, no, that is not going to work. You're going to have to pay in those dollars, or the bondholders are saying that's not going to work. And so now I'm reading an article saying about how not only are they frozen the assets, but now the United States is talking about seizing the Russian assets and paying the bondholders. Which I think is quite interesting, considering how Russia says, well, we told you to go ahead and use that money, those assets, to pay the bondholders. But you froze them because of the sanctions. And now you're going to seize them so you can pay the bondholders. So I think, well, what are the facts and what are the truths here? Russia knows for a fact that they have this money up in there. And the truth is that they do want to pay it because they're trying to. They can't pay it in the US dollars from the assets that they hold at the accounts that are typically used to pay those bondholders. Instead, what they are using is rubles that they have within their nation because they don't have enough dollars to spend on bondholders and still be able to function on the world trade. Because dollars are really what everybody truly wants. So they don't want to give up their dollars. So, the fact is, they could pay. Truth is, they don't want to. I think about this in a lot of sense. People don't... A lot of times people, in my opinion, look at things and not truly understand the difference between what a truth and a fact is. This is this is going to be very impactful when it comes to global bond markets, when it comes to corporate debt defaults. Watch the Russian debt defaults take place. If these Russian bonds, if they default, right, they have like a 30-day grace period from, I think it was April 4th, if I remember right. So they have like another 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or something like that to pay these things, or else in dollars, or else there's going to be a global debt default starting to take place, because it's going to start with the Russian debts from the nation, move into the corporate debts. Those start to collapse. Those are going to start spreading into other corporate debts around the world. I can see it already starting to happen. Look at Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is defaulting as well. Like, this was something somebody asked me about Sri Lanka again the other day, asking how, what's going on with their nation. And I found the article like shortly after that, how Sri Lanka is now going into a debt default. It's happening, right? This is something that I said was going to take place. If the United States and the Federal Reserve and the rising of interest rates continues, it's going to put some world economic pain into place, and you can already see it happening. Yeah. I don't know how I got into thinking about truths and facts on this one today, but it seems to me that the truth is that they are attempting to create defaults. Think about that. An attempt to create a default. Russia has the assets. They are frozen. They said unfreeze the assets and pay the bonds. The United States says no, we have sanctions on you. The bonds are about ready to go into default, and it's going to start causing a contagion situation. If these things start going into default, the United States knows we're in trouble. So they're talking about seizing the assets and paying them. What is really going on here, guys? Is this about control, or is this about a controlled demolition? See, I don't know what's happening as far as the idea on the New World Order, world conspiracy theory about taking over all countries and nations and people and controlling and forcing into a direction in which that they see best for us. I'm there's a lot of people who want to follow that kind of line of theory and stuff. I have a tendency to believe that if you can recognize that, then you should be able to avoid the whole idea in general. But what's going on? These defaults are kicking in. Russia said pay them. Unfreeze the assets and pay them. The United States says no. We're going to seize them and pay them. I don't know, guys. Really leads me to believe, like, what they are telling us for facts and truths are not what anybody should be believing. There is a big difference between the two. All right. Kind of a weird one this morning. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.